Howdy y'all, it's Mawan, and today I'm going to talk champion themes. One word can be said about them. They're the musical climax to your Pokemon journey, the final reprise before the credits. Any Pokemon game worth its salt will have these tracks in them, but that doesn't mean they're all created equal. To be fair, most of them are good in their own way, embodying everything about the character the theme is for, while instilling a level of fear and adrenaline appropriate for this daunting of a challenge. Of course, which themes are better or worse is entirely subjective, but if you're subbed to my channel, like, share, comment, subscribing that bell, then it's likely you care at least a little bit about my taste in music. So strap in, and let's talk about some Pokemon champion themes after we get over the hump. Yeah, some of these themes just ain't up to stuff, so let's just get those ones out of the way as soon as possible, right? They would be Alder's theme, Kukui's theme, and Leon's theme. All these themes take a very different approach to champion themes compared to those in earlier generations, which isn't necessarily bad. In fact, you'll see several more eclectic themes as we go up the rankings. But me personally, nothing beats the percussive, thrilling, and more exciting themes in this franchise. If you want more specifics for each of these honorable mentions, I'd say Alder's theme doesn't really try to be a champion's theme in the first place, and as for Kukui and Leon, They both do this thing where they incorporate famous Pokemon theme motifs in combination with other musical tropes. And personally, I'm just not the biggest fan of champion themes that do this. It's just a bit too cute for my tastes. With that said, let's move right along to the real meat of this video, the tracks that exemplify the role of the champion, and the ones that go a step beyond that. Yes, hi, remember me from 40 seconds ago when I said I didn't like tracks that borrowed motifs? Well, here's the first exception of many. It's just, there's so much to like about this theme, man. It's certainly the funkiest champion theme I've ever heard, between the wah pedal guitar parts and the slap bass that absolutely dominates the track, and I love it. But unlike other themes we've seen so far, it's still intense enough to remind you that it's a champion battle and not just some mid-game rival fight. But I also find this theme to be a bit aimless sometimes. It's such an interesting idea for a final boss theme, but unfortunately it's a little less than the sum of its parts. It's good, but it could be way better, which is what lands it at the bottom of these rankings. But good on ya, How. You managed to make a wah pedal and PE whistles work for a Pokemon theme. I gotta give that to you at least. This is one of the more interesting ones to rank as far as championness is concerned, because like, if Nemona's theme was a rival theme, it would be literally one of the best in this franchise, bar none. I love every single part of it, from the main melodic guitar line to these three separate freaking piano sections that all sound boss in their own right, although my definite favorite is the Billy Preston organ sounding one. I've got basically nothing but good things to say about Nemona's theme, and it's way more focused and well put together than How's theme was. It's just, again, sounds more like a high stakes rival fight than a champion theme, you know what I mean? She's in a similar boat to Alder. It's like not supposed to be some harrowing experience for the player, it's just a nice fun little romp, and I think that it does a way better job of getting that across than what Alder tried to do. The drums are punchy, the melodies are beautiful, it's just ace, man. Okay, so at this point right now, you might be looking at Red Spot in the rankings and wondering, hey Mawan, doesn't this track have like 5 different remixes that have come out over the years? How the hell are you gonna rank all of them? Well, my lovely viewer, simply put, I am not. What I've done is, I've decided to rank them by the best version of each theme and compare them to one another to remove an extra layer of complexity and prevent this video from becoming an hour-long snorefest. And for the sake of transparency, I'll show a list of how I rated all the versions. Here's the one for Lance and Red. Okay? Alright. Okay, that aside, the real question you might be asking right now is, how the hell can you put Red's theme this far down? It's ubiquitous, it's epic, the intro sets the tone for the fight perfectly with the orchestral brass section and drums, and the ethereal melody from the harp in the intro fits perfectly with the mountainous environment you fight Red in. Alright, yes, all those things are true. There's a good reason why this theme is as popular as it is, but much like Red himself, a lot of that reputation is built on embellishment. Past the intro, this theme is a single 40-second loop that, while awesome, can get repetitive a lot faster than some other champion tracks, made even more egregious by how commonly it's used in people's videos. I mean, even Blue's original theme had more to offer musically, but unlike his rival, he's had the benefit of having more remakes to bring new life into his theme. But we'll get to that later. Suffice it to say, Red's theme is a bit overhyped in my opinion, but I'm not gonna deny that its iconic status is at least a little bit deserved. Wow, that's the fastest intro for a champion theme that I've heard in this ranking so far. Say what you want about Diantha, but she sure doesn't waste your time. In more ways than one. Okay, so this theme has a certain reputation as being an underrated outing in the champion catalog, and I'm inclined to agree with that. It's very mellow as far as these tracks are concerned, but that just makes the sudden blast of electric guitars and cymbals all the more impactful. That's one of the parts that stands out the most to me about this track. It's made very deliberately, but it has two very opposing characters to it. The bright twinkling tubular bells of the main riff and the ringing chimes in the background versus the aforementioned nutty guitar breakdown in the middle of the song. These conflicting characters give the song a vibe that I haven't seen replicated in any other theme, and the only gripe that I have with it is that the battle itself doesn't live up to the story told in the song. Like, with all I've said, you'd think Diantha was this secret battle maniac that projects an image of regalness onto other people, but whose true self gets revealed in the heat of battle, but nope. It's not a deal breaker, but there's themes coming up that do a way better job of getting across the character of the champion they represent. And speaking of which, ooh yeah, this ought to be good. Okay, so reservations aside about whether she's a good champion in the first place, how did she rank so high? Or to put it more bluntly, how did she rank higher than Red and Lance? This was a question I was struggling with too, believe it or not, because if you've been paying attention, it seems like Geeta ticks every single box I have for what I don't like in a champion theme. It's got that flourish that reminds one of Pokemon's main theme, there's a kinda string section in there, and it's also pretty aimless if I were to be frank. Geeta's theme just should not work, but oh my god, it does. It does, it goes all over the place, but unlike How's theme, the whole package is definitely not less than the sum of its parts. What it does with the main theme past the intro is actually really inventive, having it start out similarly, but finding a character of its own as it goes along. It adds a new layer of chaos with that unresolved minor note at the end that's delayed just a bit too long to keep you off balance. But of course, the real stars of this theme are that brass section and that Spanish guitar. Holy Christ, like I can't stress enough how amazing the classical guitar is. If it was the only part of this theme, it would still be one of the best in Pokemon's history. It's that good. I mean, I am severely biased in this regard because it reminds me so much of Jeff Waters. Like, listen to Geeta's theme and then listen to Crystal Ann by Annihilator and tell me you don't hear the similarities. But again, you're on this channel, so you're here for my musical bias. Takes. You're here for my takes. So here's my take. Geeta's champion theme is the most underrated in all of Pokemon. Or at least it's a close second. We'll get to that eventually. Okay, so before I say anything else, yes, this is a champion theme. Thematically, it's a champion theme and beats the champion before you fight him and gets us as the actual evil team leader. So yes, it's a champion theme. Fight me. But what's amazing about this theme is that it's able to act as an evil boss theme as well as the theme of a champion. It's that versatile while still keeping things relatively simple. Bassy, punchy, tonally clashing, but in a way that works super well. It's almost like a song version of a shepherd's tone because it always sounds like it's increasing in intensity even when it's staying in one place. Ooh, but the details are where this track really shines. It's the first Gen 5 theme to appear in the rankings, and oh my word, call me biased all you want, but Gen 5 did these tracks some justice, let me tell you. There's just so much attention to detail and display here between the ticking hands of the clock in the background and the bit-crushed explosions hidden under that main organ melody, to that ending with the orchestral hits. Like, how can you not like this theme? I will say though, N's biggest unique strength, that shepherd's tone-esque quality I mentioned earlier, also ends up being his theme's biggest weakness in my opinion. It's not a big weakness, it's just that it always feels like it's building to something before it just stops right in the middle. And that's not a bad quality to have, but the lack of any climactic payoff for that buildup is a missed opportunity in my opinion. But again, this is Gen 5 we're talking about, so that's saying almost nothing at all. This theme is amazing. Let's continue. Baby, if you wanted an example of what Gen 5 can do for your Pokemon track, then this is it. Like, the original isn't bad per se, but it is definitely held back by a weak set of instruments. That beefy snare in the Gen 5 remake carries Steven's theme to best potential track status all on its own, but bonus, there's an entire rest of the song attached to it. If you liked the original, then this has everything you'd ever want from it. Yes, including the brass. Oh my god, the brass sounds so good. The bass is buzzy and distinct, and it moves and breathes all over the song until it gets its time to shine in the breakdown where it goes absolutely buck wild. It's great. But then, the part, that's right, the part, the crux of the entire song, that goddamn 3/4 breakdown before the theme loops back to the beginning again. It's a thing of beauty. I mentioned before that Geeta's theme was a surprise sleeper hit for me, but Steven's thing, ooh, takes that to a whole new level, turning an alright theme into maybe one of the best themes in the entire franchise. For this and the next 3 tracks, I'm actually going to be struggling to come up with things to talk about other than just gushing about how good these all are. Like, the only reason Steven's theme is number 4 is just because I've listened to it the least of all of them. And if that doesn't tell you how good the next ones coming up are going to be, then I do not know what will. Okay, I actually do have to make one small addendum here, because yes, some of the more astute viewers right now might call me out because this isn't technically Blue's theme, it's the theme for the VGC World Champion. And I'll grant you that this distinction definitely disqualifies the Gen 5 version of the VGC theme, not only because it changes a lot from Blue's theme, but also because a version of Blue's theme also appears in that generation. But for Gen 6, I'm willing to make an exception because it doesn't have any of those aforementioned problems. If you don't like it, just pretend everything I'm about to say is about the PWT version of Blue's theme. Okay, bye-bye. Boom boom da boom, it's Blue time, baby. What can be said about this music that hasn't been said already? First attempt at a song of its kind, and Masuda knocked it out of the park. The Fire Red version was a bit of a wash, but it got better in Gen 5 and in Gen 6. I say again, boom da boom, baby. Gen 6 could do some boppers when it felt like it, and this is a perfect example. The bass and the drums do a lot of the grunt work here, but the synths add that extra touch that let this theme really soar. I love how that section after the breakdown with the solo turns into a full-on pedal-to-the-floor thrasher with the drums and bass, ooh, the bass, the salty, delicious meat at the center of this musical calzone. Sorry, the metaphor got a little bit away from me there. Point is that this theme is proper noise. It really tips the scales from awesome to stressful with the main theme, and it handles the build-up to climax in a way that I really wanted End's theme to do a bit better. All the instruments are putting in that work. There's that little chiptune Easter egg hidden in the breakdown. I've said it already, it's got everything you'd want in a Champion theme. But there's two more that go a little bit beyond that. You feel that? That's fear. Look, I can talk all day about melodies and composition and character, but with words, I will always fail to describe the quantity of unadulterated panic this theme will instill within you. Panic that can only be truly experienced from a legacy built on generational trauma. What this theme is able to do with so little is astounding to me. The drums are the beating heart of the track, the rapid striking of snares in the intro are the sound that destroys any illusion of this battle being a cakewalk. The bass is the teetering rock that the whole track is balanced upon. Never calm, never in one place for too long. Even in the most mellow section of the song, the bass reminds you to keep on your toes. And that descending melody is the glue that brings it all together. It's the part that grabs your heart and reminds you that you are in the presence of a champion, no less. I think it's fitting that the track also makes use of orchestra hits quite frequently. They're almost like a horror stinger that shocks you all over again, even when you've calmed down a bit. When all these pieces work together, nothing can touch it. And again, it's able to do all that with just those pieces. No flourishes, no hidden motifs, no Easter eggs, no nothing. It's the only track in this ranking that's actually gotten worse as it's been adapted. It's almost like the anti-Red. Whereas any update for Red would be appreciated, with Cynthia, you can't improve on greatness. This is Pokemon's most underrated track. That's it. Full stop. No ifs, ands, or buts. No subjectivity. If you think this isn't one of the best themes in the franchise, you can fight me. Every theme I've talked about thus far has hooks. Hell, even Cynthia had hooks. But for Iris, the entire song is hook. This theme is a musical odyssey in its own right, so the only way I can do it any justice is just to describe it part and parcel. When the battle starts, it explodes into this beautiful, sparkling, and powerful intro before it cuts into the first section. That same glittering melody laid on top of chugging, almost genty palm muting on a guitar riff. And then it mellows out a little. The keyboards and bass do the job of keeping the drum groove going, all while those same bells from the intro weave in and out of the song's orbit like Halley's Comet. Then it builds into this kick-ass head-banging, thrashy tritone guitar riff that just dominates the whole track, all while the keyboards erupt in the background. Soon we're back to the palm muting while the keys and chimes have a back and forth with each other. We're building down to a low-key section with power chords on the keyboard. And then the guitars and keyboards are back on lock. It builds and it builds and it builds. The bass shows off one more time until boom! The keyboard takes over with the main melody and it just sets your soul on fire, growing and growing brighter than the sun, before it hangs on that highest note, and then the palm muted guitars bring us back full circle. Nothing but nothing of what I just said will be able to capture how good this theme is. So you're just gonna have to listen for yourself. This is Mawin, signing off.